This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Tune in Thursday nights on the iRacing Esports Network to watch the premier historic open-wheel series on iRacing, the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by Butt Kicker.
We are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, and excitement. This is Lionheart. From Homestead Miami Speedway, it's time for the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of Season 4, the debut of the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. Each season has brought upon us a new champion. Jake Wright in Season 1. Adam Blocker in Season 2, and last year, it was Ryan Otis. He's back to defend his crown, but 34 other drivers have pledged to dethrone the Oregon native, like Alex Saunders, an 11-time race winner, 6-time retro winner, real-world IndyCar driver Sage Karam, and the Candyman, 4-time retro winner Dustin Wardlow. 8 drivers qualify as rookies ready to compete for the Butt Kicker rookie points race, and there are 7 teams with full rosters set to battle it out for the HyperX Team Championship. But what has fans and commentators alike really curious? The effects of iRacing's latest tire model have come to the Lotus 79. Gone, the old Galaxy Quest tire which never gave up, replaced by something that will indeed surrender. There will be no shortage of drama, no shortage of action. So to quote Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. It's time for the DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami. All the simulated retro Lotus 79 action from green flag to victory donuts streaming your way right here on the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green, the land of gators and sharks sightings. Welcome to another GSRC broadcast here on the iRacing Esports Network. Alongside the banker Brian Yazik, I'm Jason Galvin, joining you up in the virtual press box for this one. Look at that, I think Yazik even got a new profile picture for this one. Tonight's DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami action coming your way with direction from our good friend Sean Ambrose and camera angles from Dougie Beard. Homestead Miami Speedway has become a staple of the Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX as the season opening event across all its leagues. And why not this picturesque track, as good as it gets under the South Florida sun? So let's dive deeper with our GSRC track guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazik, taking you for a spin around the Homestead Miami Speedway in the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. Why am I on pit road? Because on the iRacing service you have to use the exit lanes and the entry lanes. I'm going to show you both here. So coming off of pit road, let this thing build up a little bit of speed. This car makes a little bit more grip on the underside, so getting out of pit road should be a little easy. Wait for your blend mark right there. Bring it. Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazik, taking you for a spin around the Homestead Miami Speedway in the GSRC Lotus 79. Here we go, starting off of pit road, because at Homestead you do have to use the entry lane and the exit lane for all of your pit road procedures. Getting up to speed there's no real banking, so especially in these Lotuses, you're going to have to breathe the throttle just a little bit, but then it just lets you really step on that loud pedal and grab up through the gears and let that old engine scream. Here we go, getting her wound up for the money lap, if you will. Bringing it high, bringing your momentum around the track, off of turn 4, down the front stretch, and away we go on our lap. Down here into turn 1, we're going to bring it just about as far down to the bottom as you can. Maybe not all the way down, depending on the setup, but you're definitely going to want to hug the white line there coming off of the corner, down the back stretch, setting up your entry into turn 3. You're going to be bringing it in a little wider, Maybe breathe the throttle just a little bit to let the nose set, because these cars don't have the downforce that you're accustomed to in a lot of other high downforce vehicles. Down the front stretch we go. Now, as this race moves around, you can see guys all over the speedway. Homestead is a very fun track as a driver, gives you a lot of options. You could be all the way up there in that second groove. You could be up by the wall. You could be all the way down at the bottom. You're going to see guys all over this track today. Same here into turn 3 and 4. You can really let it float here through the top and really kind of use that top lane to more so defend against someone trying to get a run on you. These cars do create a massive draft behind them that leaves a big wake, so it's really going to be easy to suck up. So if you can get a little bit of a good run, you can really make some moves as the race progresses. Now, we talked about how we had to come off of pit road. Here's how we have to come onto pit road. Start calling them off, signaling them back, bring it down here, and then stomp on the brakes, get it down into probably second or third gear, depending on how brave you want to feel. Once again, no flat banking, and here's where this pit road is very, very tricky. As you try to get it wound up, hit the brakes, a big wiggle, get her stopped down, slow down, avoid the barrels, and you're on pit road. And this has been our track guide around the Homestead Miami Speedway. I'm Brian Yazik. Enjoy the show.
Sunshine and fresh citrus and Highlight and a state-of-the-art 1.5-mile oval. That's what you call heaven on a stick. And now let me reintroduce my broadcast partner. And boy, let me tell you, if they had Highlight in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, he would probably be the second greatest player in his own household. He is the banker, Brian Yazik. Yaz, Homestead. What a beautiful place it is.
Oh, it absolutely is. Welcome back. Welcome one. Welcome all. Another glorious year here calling the Retro Series, and we always kick it off right here at the Homestead Speedway, personal favorite of mine out there on the service. The biggest thing with Homestead, you have to use the entry road and the exit road, so that's always something that you see come up in these events as you get these green flag races. Now, Homestead was really one of the first ovals to really nail that progressive banking that Irwindale out there in the out there in your neck of the woods, Galvin, really nailed on the short track side of things. So what it is, you see 18 to 20 at the very bottom near the white line. That is 18, and in the middle is 19. And up there in the Kyle Larson line, the high rent district, that's about 20 degrees. With these retro cars, and we keep calling it retro because it is the Lotus 79, a car that is almost 40 years or math or something like that on the surface. So you're not going to see them probably too high unless you start seeing them 3 wide, which Lord knows with this series we've seen it do. The biggest thing, though, is turn 2. There is a big bump right on the exit of the corner, and if you're up there by that fence, it could very well send you right into it. Yeah, so then, and remember, boys and girls, and I missed my cue, so this is on me. I'll take the hate mail for this. Remember, boys and girls, the countdown to green here brought to you by the Sim Experience AccuForce steering system, the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. To check out the entire Sim Experience line of products, head on over to simexperience.com.
Well, this is normally the point, Yaz, where we'd be taking a look at the points, but guess what? We don't have any because it's opening night, and that means that we get to skip through all of that.
Listening to me clearly proves that it's opening night in the Retro Series.
All right, we're all settling in here. The best of the best as you continue to watch. This is qualifying happening right now. The best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, showcased here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you have not done so yet, make sure you subscribe. GSRC proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX. It is the premier open-wheel racing league on iRacing with 2 great series. The Lionheart IndyCar Series, presented by First Medical Equipment, and the featured series here tonight, the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Both series honor the memory of the late Dan Weldon, and since it is a brand new season, what better time than to talk about the series details here in the Retro Series, brought to you by our friends at Minus 273. Season 4 of the Retro Series, round 1 of 18. There's 2 drops in the point standings. It is the Lotus L79, and it is adjusted fixed setups. This year, the total cash and prizes value over $6,600.
Those series details come to us thanks to Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of breathable poly spandex, the same thing that my pants are made of right now. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit see, there we go, www.minus273.biz, and don't forget to use LHRS for 25% off your order.
Well, it's as predicted, a warm afternoon here in South Florida. Clear skies, 76 degrees right now. The track temp is 103. The winds are blowing from the north at 8 miles per hour, 81% humidity. And we'll have to see. The IndyCar race ended up finishing under the lights. I don't think this one will, Yaz, based on how everything is set up here. But that certainly changed things for the IndyCars. And we know that if this race, prolongs a little bit, and we get some yellows and the sun starts to set, it'll certainly affect these cars as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think the starting time without I don't have my tracking equipment for that just up yet, but I think it's very, very early. So I mean, we might finish this race in kind of a sort of twilight-esque sort of look, but definitely not the full night effect that we had last week in the IndyCar series.
Let's take a look at the starting grid, brought to you by our good friends at Butt Kicker. Great to have them back with the Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX this year. And starting on the pole to open the season, how about David Clymer in the 46 car, starting next to former series runner-up Alex Saunders in his championship quest returning this year. Speaking of champions, the defending champ Ryan Otis starts in row 2 alongside HPP's George Sandman. Bobby Mikes, welcome back to the Retro Series, starts in the 5th position next to Dean Mardi Gras Mall, who's got a little bit of a paint scheme change, it looks like, this year. Aaron Smith and Scott McClendon, welcome back to him as well in row 4. And Greg West, the iRacing employee, and James Paulson in row 5.
Out there in row 6, you got Trevor Malone, an old name, coming back to the Retro Series, and Paul Jacobs to his outside. Row 7 is made up of Bruno Miranda and Aaron Morgan, a returning name as well. Ryan Corns, Chris Reagan make up row 8, with row 9, real-life IndyCar driver Sage Karam, who's found himself with a whole lot of time on his hands recently, and Scott Holmes on the 18th starting spot with Tyson Landis and Ricky Harden, another former name, rounding out row 10.
Row 11, George Anzaldo, the series founder, and Sam Crow with Tyler Groff and Travis Jagerlander, David Altman, Marty Davis in row 13, Tommy Ryan, Richie Hearn, the former IndyCar winner, in row 14, and Finian DeCunha and Jason Boss in row 15.
Back there in the 16th row, Mike Eleanor Rigney with Michael Gray, racing Kangaroo Gray back there in the 32nd. Candyman Dustin Wardlow with Lionel Little Train Callisto in 34th, and shotgun on the field, the riding Shotgun Motorsports driver Adam Young,
who's questionable to start, we understand now, after being pretty strong in practice there. We'll get to our onboard cameras here once we get this race settled in and underway, because, well, folks, it is time to kick off the 2020 season. Season 4, the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by DMLC Racing Channel. David Clymer will bring them down the front straightaway. The pace car is off. The green flag is out, and we're underway. 2020 is here for the Lionheart Retro Series, and the Lotus L79s go screaming into turn 1, 30-plus deep, 2 and 3 wide already, as...
Oh, look at that beautiful shot coming off of the corner, down the back stretch. Oh, I just love these camera angles. You see up front, David Clymer having to take the very low line to defend his position from returning champion Ryan Otis. And look at that, just up there to the outside, Alex Saunders and that purple people eating machine.
Saunders dipping outside the Nighthawk car, trying to lead lap 1, won't do it. Instead, give it to the Sim Pits, David Clymer, who starts on the pole in this one and will hug that inside line and try to hold the lead. But look at Saunders working the top side here. Here's the unique thing about this Lotus L79. Ground effects car does not have a ton of horsepower. It tends to top out at the end of these straightaways, but it means the draft is even more important than it is in the IndyCar here. And if you watched the Lionheart IndyCar Series race 1 week ago, last Wednesday, you'll know what the draft meant in that event. In this race, you'll really be able to see these cars get right down on top of each other and kind of side draft, and the outside lane car can really get a slingshot run out of the corner. I remember season 1, the debut of this series, I was fortunate enough to win this race, Yaz, and that was my biggest concern. We had a late restart after a caution, and the last 7 or 8 laps, man, it was wild because the car behind you could really kind of tuck in, get a run, and then if they got tight enough, and you're risking things when you get tight, but if they got tight enough, they could use that side draft in this car, kind of slingshot by you on the straightaway.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the biggest thing with this Lotus machine, because it doesn't have that horsepower, you kind of have to use momentum to build up those runs. So that's where you kind of see these runs, especially with these big old spoilers hanging out the backside of them, really can build up. And you see Sandman making a return run back there. He got really a bad start. He gave up several car lengths on the start, and now he's kind of worked his way back up, using that kind of a combination of a high line back to the low line. You kind of see him getting the nose. Oh, put it out for the first time this year.
First caution of the season comes on lap number 5, and looking at the back of the field, trying to find who it is. I'm not seeing anybody who stands out specifically here.
Oh, it might be Tommy Ryan, Bruno Miranda. I see just a couple cars like on the track map that are parked.
Bruno's on pit road, and it's not good. That back of that L79 is pretty crumpled, and it is Bruno Miranda. As we take another look here at the GSRC replay, and it's Ricky Harden and Bruno Miranda who are going to come together, it looks like, as the 2 cars headed off into the corner. And I think this is just a case of maybe mistaken communication as they come down the front straightaway. That's Miranda on the outside of Harden, and they're going to head off into turn number 1, and Bruno Miranda is going to come right down on Ricky Harden and makes heavy contact. Oh, and then Tommy Ryan gets run into up there, so that's where Tommy Ryan comes from. And who's the other car down there, Yaz? Can you make that one out?
It was Richie Hurd. I just saw the look like a highlighter and an aluminum panel made of paint ski.
That is Richie Hearn, indeed, the fellow GSRC commentator and former real-life IndyCar Series winner at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Richie, taking a look at that car, he's still running around the track here, but boy, the front of that car is really beat up, and that is a doomsday in this car. Tommy Ryan also has some issues up front. Hey, let's take a look at our onboard cameras here while we get a chance, and we'll start with the champ, Ryan Otis, with the HyperX onboard. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use the promo code LionHRT15. So that's LionHRT15 at HyperXGaming.com for your discount on some of the best gaming peripherals in the market. The best, not some of the best, the best. You see the headsets we got. They're incredible. On board now with George and Zaldo. The Turn Racing number 6 onboard camera, merging the gap between real and sim racing. Promo code Lionheart10 at turnracing.com. I know George has a Turn Racing wheel he loves. And we move next to our onboard camera with the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, the Dwarf Special. And this is the Sim Experience onboard for the number 9 car, second only to the real thing, simexperience.com. The best in the AccuForce wheels and so much more. And finally, our 4th onboard with our pole sitter, David Clymer, the 46 car and the DMLC Racing Channel onboard camera. DMLC is your home for the best sim racing videos online. And while we have a second and we're under our first caution of the year here, I want to give a shout out to Mark Cohn, the founder of the DMLC Racing Channel, for coming on board and sponsoring the Lionheart Retro Series this year. Mark's a teammate of Brian and I over on the IndyCar side. Great young man, has a giant heart, loves this series, and when he decided that he didn't want to race this year because he wanted to focus on the IndyCar, he went to George and Zaldo and said, how can I help? And here we are, the DMLC Racing Channel, the presenting sponsor of the Lionheart Retro Series this year. And I know Mark's had a bit of a rough day in the family there, so he's not with us here tonight. We were hoping to have him up in the broadcast booth. We'll talk to him at round number 2, but just want to say thank you to Mark for all that he has done stepping up, and what a great person to have associated with the league. Yes,
absolutely. I hit it right on the nail, or hit the nail right on the head. Biggest heart of most anybody in today's day and age. A wonderful person to have call a friend as well.
ready to dip off as they come off of turn 4. It hits the pit apron and onto pit road, and David Clymer will bring them down the front straightaway. On the loud pedal, green flag is back out as we start lap number 9 here at Homestead Miami Speedway, with Clymer leading, Alex Saunders, Bobby Mikes, George Sandman, Ryan Otis, Scott McClendon, Aaron Smith, Dean Mall, Greg West, and Sage Karam's up into the top 10 already.
See a little bit less hectic on this restart versus the initial start. You see everybody kind of trying to fall in line and move around here, but at the same time, you do have that battle for the lead between Clymer and Saunders, which you know is going to bring Bobby Mikes back up into it.
Saunders out there working the outside in that familiar purple and black, and Clymer in the black and red down on the inside of the racetrack. Similar paint schemes from last year. Same with George Sandman back there in the 4th spot. And how about the run for Bobby Mikes so far? That 39 car up there in position number 3. I don't think Bobby got his paint done for the year. I'm going to presume that's going to be a Von Hansen's Meat Special once again.
Yeah, what I'm going to be assuming as well.
Scott McClendon's been one of the fastest cars on the track so far. He is currently sitting in the 6th spot after starting in 8th. 28.600 last time by was the quickest lap of this race, and he is that black and blue car as you see him on your screen back there, 6th in line all by himself. That's part of why he's running such fast laps. He's got 2 wide holes in front of him there as we take it on board now with Scott McClendon. I believe Missouri is where he calls home, the St. Louis area. Ultra successful in karting, and just a cool young man. Aaron Smith clocked off a lap in the 28.4s, and here's McClendon inside of defending champion Ryan Otis, trying to use that inside line to work his way up. How about it's kind of interesting, David Clymer all by himself on the bottom back to McClendon, and finally George Sandman came down and said, all right, I'll join you down. Wonder how much the aero push might be affecting things here as Alex Saunders pokes out in front to lead that lap, and here comes Sandman back on the inside of Bobby Mikes. Let's take a look at our race analysis for this evening, presented by our friends at Butt Kicker. This is a 133-lap event. They're saying the maximum fuel run is about 47 laps, which means we're on a 2-stop race. There's a 20 instant point limit, which will get you disqualified from the event and also cause you to lose 10 points. The Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX, also has other various points penalties scattered throughout for instant points, and you get a bonus point for a clean race, which can certainly add up, as we've seen some of these championships come down literally to the final points. As Alex Saunders had an opportunity there to clear David Clymer and changed his mind, and look at that, they're staggered 3 wide back there for 5th, 6th, and 7th. I'll figure out who that yellow car is that's creeping up there on the outside line, and I believe that's Aaron Smith, who has come up to join the party.
Yeah, that's right. In that 07 machine, bright canary yellow. Can't miss that out there on the track, as you see. And a kind of a perfect blend of paint schemes for Southern Florida, wouldn't you say?
I certainly would. Yeah, you've got your oranges and your lemons, and there's a grapefruit in there somewhere, I think, with Richie Hearn.
Yeah.
Speaking of creeping up into this thing, Sage Karam started in 17th, and he is up to 8th, and that is him inside of Aaron Smith. 3rd car bottom line, white and that kind of light reddish colored car as he pops back up, and Sage is playing the perfect game right now because he's got a little bit of a gap, 3 cars or so back to Greg West and Trevor Malone, so he's able to pop out of the corner and conserve his tires, but tuck back down to the inside and take the shortest line through the corners right now. And I got to tell you, Sage Karam thought that he was going to be racing in Florida one weekend ago, and as we all know, with the way things have gone with the coronavirus and COVID-19 outbreak, that wasn't the case. We certainly look forward to hopefully having everybody get through the crisis that's happening in our country right now and the health crisis that's going on, and hopefully everybody gets through it in good health and safely, and we can return to some normalcy, and whether that be a few weeks or a few months, and get to see Sage Karam back in a real IndyCar. But this has to be a nice kind of relief for him to jump back behind the wheel of the simulator and not think about the opportunity that might have been. As you look at Sage and going to work back here, you're on board with him on this Raven Motorsports silver entry. And to the inside of Sage right now, it's Trevor Malone, it looks like, popping up in there as well.
Making his name known. Very similar. Ooh, goodness gracious, that got tight into the corner between Sage and Trevor Malone. See, Trevor trying to make that bottom lane work. It just doesn't quite work, especially, like I said earlier, with these lower horsepower machines. And there you see Mardi Gras right up there, that number 31 machine.
Trevor Malone was the honorary pole sitter here in year one. He has that record forever as being the first ever pole winner in the Lionheart Retro Series. Came at the debut of this series. You see Richie Hearn down there on the apron. He has elected to take it down onto the pit access road and come to pit lane. I'm not sure if that means he's going to park it or he wants to see if he can get the car fixed some more, but he was certainly not at the speed after that incident. Malone also holds the track record at a 28.625 in qualifying. That was before today, of course. 3 cars went quicker than that, including David Clymer, who is the first car ever to break into the 28.5. So Clymer, on top of leading this race and leading the most laps so far, is now the official track record holder. But Trevor Malone ran in season 1 of the Retro Series for the first half of the year and then had something come up and had to kind of duck out. And we hadn't seen him a whole lot since then. He started to pop back around at the end of last year, and here he is back behind the wheel of one of these L79s looking to compete. And he is somebody who certainly has the speed and racecraft to get up there and cause some issues for some people and take a win or two this year and compete for a championship. So really deep field in the Retro Series this year he has. I mean, it's been deep every year. Everything in the Lionheart Series is always deep. But when you look at the return of Trevor Malone and the possible that Sage Karam runs full-time, you see the run that David Clymer's having right now with the DMLC Racing Channel on board out in front, and Alex Saunders is back and Greg West is back. This is a loaded field, yes.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and it comes from all over the place. I mean, there's not necessarily, one series or one particular thing. I mean, we got guys from the major series, we have real-world drivers, and some of the blends of some of the names that do make this Lotus, make their names around the Lotus scene. I believe that's where Saunders kind of led to us, because there's kind of a big contingent of people that kind of support the Lotus series, so he came over that way. Otis, I'm fairly certain, appeared like Jake Wright, just through the mist, that sort of a scenario. But it's just so wonderful to sit here at the beginning of every year and look at the field and kind of try to see how everybody's year is going to go. And who knows, we might get a couple new faces that join throughout the year just to add to that deeper talent pool.
On board with Bobby Mikes, HyperX on that race car. And he is trying to work the top side. Bobby Mikes is unclaimed on a team right now, independent. Attention to the pits, attention in the pits. If you own a team in the Lionheart Racing Series, Bobby Mikes might be a good person to go get if you have an opening. Just throwing that out there.
And plus he has meats, various meats that he can get you.
Let me tell you, he has sausages that I cannot say what we call them on the air, but let me just tell you. They are hotter than Satan. But man, are they delicious.
Bolster probably
at least they were for me. Yeah, Scott Bolster disagrees vehemently, but I thought they were delicious.
Well, the best part, when he got married and went to the wedding, I got to hear the story from her perspective.
Oh, man. See, those are the things us California folk didn't get because we didn't quite make it to Scott and Molly's wedding, but you'll have to include that in the postseason vlog that we put together this year. Yeah,
yeah, I'll tie a couple of them together.
Hey, update. Bruno Miranda dropped out of the race after that incident. Not a surprise there. Sam Crow is also retired from this race, and I'm not really sure, honestly, what happened with Sam there. Adam Young, it turns out, did start the race. Good for Adam. He's not on the track anymore. Bad for Adam. Scott Holmes also retired, which is interesting. Tommy Ryan is also pulled off now. Has not officially retired from this race, but he's down there in the 31st position. And Marty Davis has also, it appears, run into some problems as well. Oh no, that's my my scoring is now going through opening night blues. So Scott Holmes and Marty Davis are at the back, but they have not dropped out. For some reason, their laps aren't clicking on my scoring monitor. I show them 10 and 11 laps down, which certainly can't be right. So let's check here. Adam Young is running. I'm going to go back to the iRacing official because technology is not my friend right now. Sam Crow and Bruno Miranda are both out of this race. Richie Hearn is 6 laps down with that damage. And as we go on board now with George and Zaldo. And George trying to work his way through the field under Morgan down the front straightaway there.
Remember, it's lap 32, right? There's just something right, perfect about seeing these cars fan out and then come all together. It's just a beautiful thing, the way that we don't have any real sports out there in the real world, so we got this, and I'm glad that y'all came out and hung out with us tonight.
Richie Hearn is still running around, but he's 6 laps down. As I mentioned, Adam Young made it. He's trailing Scott Holmes and Marty Davis. The 3 of them have lost what is effectively the second pack. We got a couple of packs here. So there's the primary pack, and that is literally David Clymer all the way back to Tyson Landis in 22nd. Yeah, 22 cars deep for the primary pack right now. And then Jason Boston, 23rd. Back to Tommy Ryan in 28th is the second pack. And then you've got Marty Davis and Scott Holmes and Adam Young, and they are truly in no man's land right now. Richie Hearn is 6 laps down. So that's how everybody shakes out right now on the racetrack. Inside of 100 laps to go. Knock a digit off the lap counter.
Still, you just see this battle side by side up there at the front. It's, and the way that the setup is, the way that these cars drive, this is just what you kind of expect to see. You're going to see that, excuse me, I had a hiccup. Clymer, you're trying to make it work on the bottom. Saunders trying to make it work up top, and then you got Sandman just behind him going, all right, well, I got to go where they aren't, and I can't go through there, so now what? And Bobby just decides, hey, y'all, I'm going to just send the stamp up here or send the mail up here. Just don't mind me.
With three wide is not where I would personally want to be on lap 36, but to each their own.
Oh, big wreck out of 4. Put it out. Several drivers involved. Yeah. Gosh, it's like we know stuff sometimes.
Clairvoyance.
Paul Jenkins is involved. Oh, Mardi Gras is involved. Aaron Smith is involved. Sorry, I wasn't laughing at the wreck. I was laughing at Adam Young, who was trying to hang out behind the pack, and he's trying to work his way through the carnage.
This might be easier for us to figure out who's not in this one.
There's a car upside down.
Started with Bobby Mikes up on the outside. And here's the worst part of this. This is truly a terrible case of netcode. In the worst of ways. Bobby Mikes just, there's nobody within 3 feet of him, and it junks half the field.
I could play with a hula hoop in that sort of a gap.
At least. You could probably drive a legend car between that gap. Man.
We put a jump in there, and Pastrana will want to jump something through it.
Boy, and if you want to see why he is a real-world IndyCar driver,
Well, it was a beautiful navigation through there. Ricky Harden also involved. Tyler Groff missing it all. We're going to kind of let a lot of this sort out with pit stops and things of that variety. So we're going to kind of send it to break here real quick, get some stuff straightened away, get a pit stop of our own, and we'll be right back here on the GSRC.
Welcome back, and just in time, the green flag flies here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and we're back underway. Look at that. That's just how good we are. You missed absolutely nothing. I'm Jason Galvin. He's Brian Yazik. Sean Ambrose turning the knobs here tonight on the iRacing Esports Network. We are the Global SimRacing Channel, and this is the DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami. And David Clymer and Alex Saunders are trying to sign each other's race cars going through turn 3 and 4 there. Holy smokes, that was close.
Well, we were at the wide angle there, and off that restart, Alex Saunders timed it pretty much matching where Clymer was taken off at. So by the time that they got the cars wound up going into turn 1, Saunders was right to the inside, ready to pounce. But you had Clymer up there on the outside using that high lane to kind of pinch it down. So that's why you see Clymer kind of fighting back and Saunders trying to fight on the bottom, which is backwards from where they just were prior to the caution.
And who else had a great restart is Sage Karam, and he got around Ryan Otis before they even got to the line on the outside of Otis. And caution's out. We got a car flipping through turns 1 and 2.
It's the 17, I believe.
That beat Jason Boss. And that's going to pretty much end his day in his debut here. Oh, boy.
Contact.
This is...
Oh, there was contact with a black car.
Michael Gray, and then Tommy Ryan's in front of him, and it's like Boss almost looks like he starts maybe to make his turn into the corner, or no, I think Michael Gray comes up the track. I don't know, that's hard to tell. Jason Boss and Tommy Ryan and Michael Gray all end up making contact. Boss is the only one who comes out of it with damage. He flipped through the air and hit the wall, and somehow he's okay, but he just missed pit road, so that's not going to be good. And the big elephant in the room right now, you notice a little bit of technical difficulties going on right here. This is not related to us, but we are going to take another break here and see if we can't get this sorted out for you. This is the DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back into the Homestead Miami Virtual Speedway here on the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. This is the DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami. I'm Jason Galvin alongside of the banker Brian Yazik, Sean Ambrose directing here tonight on the iRacing Esports Network with presentation from the Global SimRacing Channel. And you've missed about 6 laps, and it's been a lot more tame, imagine that, since we had a giant wreck take out half the field and some technical issues there. One thing we do want to notify you of, there was a penalty assessed I'm trying to figure out, is that Dustin Wardlow coming off pit road? I wonder where the Candyman was on pit road.
He got caught up in that big shenanigans the last time.
One of 100 cars.
Typical Wardlow luck, right place, wrong.
Exactly. Michael Gray was given an avoidable contact to drive-through penalty for the incident that brought out our second caution with Jason Boss. So Michael Gray has served said penalty, I do believe, and is back on the track right in front of your leaders, as a matter of fact, so that's convenient.
Well, and I was just going to ask you, Jason, have you ever heard of the expression, sit on the hot stove and sweat ice water?
Is that Michael Gray right now?
No, that's actually David Clymer, because in his mirror he had Sage Karam and Alex Saunders both side by side trying to get after his lead. And then Gray happened to come out right in front of him, and I imagine that turned the intensity up just a hair, because sometimes, as the leader, you want those lap cars to kind of just go one way, and sometimes you don't know where they're going to go. So now, with that being said, they've cleared that. Now you have a battle for the lead between Sage Karam and David Clymer.
So Michael Gray is that black car up against the wall that you keep seeing.
Oh, boys!
Oh, no! What's going on?
Problem.
David Clymer is wrecked.
He got into it with Ricky Harden there.
Oh, no. Oh, the pole sitter and dominator of this race is out on lap 54.
That car, that 46 has got a death wobble going to it right now. Here's you're going to kind of see, there's Ricky Harden, and he's decided, he's announced, he hasn't said it, but he's showing he's going to stay low. Then,
I mean, I gotta watch this again. Ricky just said something over chat, and I had it muted, so I didn't hear it. I think, honestly, this is terrible to say, but I think Ricky didn't hold the bottom enough, and that threw Clymer off because.
But then if you watch,
Ricky's,
I think he tries to hook it back, but unfortunately, Clymer has already committed to the low side. Like, you can watch Ricky float up the track, and then that car tries to come back to the white line off of turn 4. And unfortunately, Clymer had decided to try to get through that way, and that's unfortunate.
And Clymer actually did a great job of not hitting Harden. The issue is when he hits the apron, the car bottoms out. Remember, ground effects car, this thing is slammed to the ground, and it bottoms out and bounces around and pops back up, and then he runs into Harden, and that's the end of it for David Clymer.
And if you ever want to try to understand the ground effects, you need a better visual. Imagine someone of my stature trying to get into a Ford Festiva, and you see where the suspension gets all the way down to the ground. That's what happens.
And just in case you weren't sure what Yazik means by his stature, they
don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, he and Simone Biles are like absolutely the most opposite you could ever imagine in life.
Well, I actually raced a go-kart at one of those indoor go-kart tracks a couple years ago. And
Did it go?
It went. I had so much downforce in the corners, let me tell you what. I had a DW12 in the corners and an L79 on the straights.
So just curious, when you went through the corners, could you get through the corners quick enough to make up for the lap you lost on the front straightaway?
No, you didn't. Because you get through the corners and you just heard this weird noise, and it may have just been my back screeching on the seat. But
was it the gear melting?
Yeah,
That's
if you've ever
That's,
watched
by the
Finding
way,
Nemo,
I'm not a svelte human either. So Yaz and I can
oh yeah,
we're teammates in an IndyCar, and we share an affinity for good dinner. So
hmm
we're perfectly capable of ribbing on each other over
yeah,
there.
we've seen each other destroy half of a Giordano's pizza.
Yeah, yeah. And guess who destroyed the other half? The other one of us. Uh,
All right, well, there's that.
yeah, exactly. Lights are still on, so we got one more lap to go here, and that seems like just a dandy old time to pay some
Yeah, let's
bills.
pay some bills.
And I think we should start by paying some bills by thanking a company that came on in the biggest way this year with the Lionheart Racing Series, which is now the Lionheart Racing Series powered by HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra comfortable, high quality headset. Gives you audio information you need to grab the checkered flag, from high performance DRAM and SSDs to outstanding microphones, accurate mice, responsive keyboards, the legendary cloud line of gaming headsets. HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed, casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture. We're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Lights are now out on the Ford Mustang iRacing pace car up front. And with the pole sitter out of the race, it's Sage Karam who is leading the way with Ryan Otis and Alex Saunders, then Greg West. Saunders' teammate is up to fourth. George Sandman's in fifth. Michael Gray is that black car. He's a lap down in between Greg West and George Sandman. Finian DeCunha all the way up to sixth. Where'd he come from? Trevor Malone, Mike Rigney, Lionel Callisto, Tyson Landis is your top 10 as we come back to the green. Coming to lap 59, Sage Karam leads the field for the first time tonight, and we're back underway here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Sage Karam with the easiest pass to the lead he's probably had in a minute. Real easy when you're on the top side, and what happens below you happens. But now, looking in that mirror, there's the defending champion, that number one on your programs and number one in your hearts with the number one on the side of that car. Ryan Otis, he's got that there for a reason. And you're just going to watch him just be Mr. Consistent all year long, and it's going to take mighty effort to pry that championship from his hands again.
We're on board with Ryan Otis and the HyperX on board. Boy, that's got to be a great feeling for Otis. We're so used to seeing him in the 95 car with the classic throwback homage to the Team Penske Racing liveries of the 90s there, and now he's got a number one on that car. And I got to tell you, you become as a race car driver attached to your numbers. For me, it's 42. For you, it's 55. Yes, for Ryan, it's 95. But the one beautiful thing about Formula cars and IndyCar, and in my world professionally in drag racing, when you win a championship, you put the number one on the car. And when you roll into town for the season opener the next season, everybody knows who the king of the castle was 1 year ago. And that's got to be a cool feeling for Ryan Otis here tonight.
Well, and it's kind of like, the man that needs no introduction already. I mean, fans of the Lionheart series know that name, Ryan Otis. They know that paint scheme. I mean, so last year's performance doesn't really surprise anybody. And then what I think you're going to see this year is that renewed focus and that renewed determination. And now, once you've got there, now you know what it takes. So I think in Otis's case, that makes him that much more lethal this season versus last season.
I think Ryan Otis for a long time was very quiet, conservative guy, and it fits his nature in real life. And especially on ovals, he was a bit timid, and you can't really be timid in this series on ovals because nobody else is, and everybody's really good in the Lionheart series, and both the IndyCar and the Retro car. And Ryan was not an oval guy; he's a road course guy. He's really hard to beat on a road course. So, though, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to the Ryan Otis, Alex Saunders, George Sandman, Sage Karam battles on road courses this year. Dustin Wardlow, for that matter. I mean, there's some serious heavy hitters on the road course side of things in this car for the 2020 season here. But Otis last year found some life on ovals, and it started with this race, honestly, the season opener. And it's a race that ironically, Otis lost on the last lap, or 2 laps to go. You know, he had that incident coming out of turn 4 where he spun and you know, Alex Saunders went on to win the race. They made a little bit of contact coming out of turn 4, and but it gave Otis some renewed life, I think, on an oval, to understand that, you know what, I can go race with these guys. I was a straight away from winning this deal, and it propelled him to the championship in a big way last year. He became a pretty heavy force on ovals as well. Speaking of Alex Saunders, he's got to be sitting there right now going, wait a minute, what's my teammate doing way up there? Greg West just popped up in the 3rd spot and brought George Sandman with him.
It's lying up there like a bobsled.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with that reference, and Greg hasn't run with us for a couple of seasons here, as he's been getting settled in professionally in his career with iRacing in their marketing department. Slicing around that boy easy.
He was about trying to get settled between the 1 and the 2 car right there.
Yeah, this car has a bit of a speed wobble. I compare it to, for, you know, those of you who are motorcycle riders will understand it, but this car does not like to go back and forth, and it'll tank slap hardcore, and Greg's car looked like it might have started to do that there, and he reeled it back in. But Greg West was a world-class, oh my gosh, skeleton. Yes, skeleton. Boy, I had to think about which one went head first and which one went feet first. They're both crazy.
I'm a fan of staying on my feet on the ground.
Yeah, look, I'm going to tell you, I would definitely go be a bobsledder, but skeleton and luge are right there for me. They rank 2nd and 3rd in professional sports, right behind Travis Pastrana's jump out of an airplane with no parachute. You might as well be doing the same thing, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Greg was a world-class athlete on the ice, and competed in the World Cup, and at one point had an opportunity to maybe even represent our country in the Olympics one day, and now he's making a career of it in the sim racing world. And his longtime girlfriend, who's a world-class on the ice as well, Sweden, I believe it is, and something about speed for them, huh? I imagine that.
Swedes, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know. Wes popping to the outside of Karam, trying to get out in front and lead his first lap. So far, by my count, Sage, Karam, David Clymer, Alex Saunders are the only drivers to lead laps in this race. I didn't see, we might have had, when we were having our technical issues there might have been somebody who stayed out while everybody hit to snag a lap.
I lost all of my stats too, so I don't know exactly when everybody pitted, and I don't know if anybody took tires or not. So kind of, because as we talk about, we saw a lot on ovals last season. This car on light fuel, it's trying to walk a very fine razor's edge, because you're on the one side of that, if you can balance it just right, you can run very fast, very consistent times. But if you overstep it either way, just by the slightest of margin, that car will snap and betray you faster than you can even turn it back to the right. I think we saw the fastest lap of anybody. Believe that went to Tyson Landis. I saw that, but gosh, look at this battle up front. You got Sage down on the bottom, and Greg West out there. He's got himself count that one for a lap lead for the skeleton bobsled driver. And still, this battle is fierce up here in the front, in the sharp end of the field. You saw a little bit of that wobble there from West going into the corner. You kind of saw the little reactionary step up as you saw Otis try to go up top. Sandman, saw an advantage there, tried to jump down to the bottom, and now he is kind of in the toe and the wash of Sage Karam, but it should be just enough. It's going to be very close off a corner. 2 between he and Saunders.
Alex Saunders, the defending winner of this race, which finished under caution. Nathan Lewis finished second in that event. Saunders led the most laps a year ago with 57. Ryan Otis actually led the most laps here in season 2 when he led 64 laps. And let's take a look at our Sim Experience driver profile, and it is the champion, Ryan Otis.
Let's gloat about him some more.
38 career races, 5 wins, 8 poles, including this race in Season 2. 29 top 5s, 29 top 10s. His first start was Season 1 at Homestead, and his first win was race number 2 of that year at Watkins Glen, which is the next race up on our schedule here this year as well. How about that for a remarkable number on Ryan Otis? When he finishes in the top 10, he finishes in the top 5. So let me put that in layman's terms. When he finishes in the top 5. Ryan does not have bad races. He gets wrecked or he has his own incident like last year at this event on the end of the race, but there are nary a time in this race car where Ryan Otis does not finish in the top 5 if he finishes a race cleanly. I got to tell you, Season 1, man, some of my best memories in the Lionheart Racing Series, and I've been fortunate enough to win a handful of races and both cars in this series. But Season 1, racing with Ryan Otis and Jake Wright, was some of the most exciting racing I've ever been involved in that year. And it was just some crazy stuff. But take a look at that camera with the palm trees. Dougie's getting us a shot at how well the water is being used in South Florida. I think back in Season 1, we had the one race that wasn't televised that season. Man, do I wish it was Long Beach. And myself, Ryan Otis, and Jake Wright were 3 wide down the back straightaway at Long Beach on the final lap, which was just the most insane thing ever. It's Dustin Wardlow, boy, the Candyman. You feel bad for him. Some experience on board for the Raven Motorsports Black driver. He's been part of back-to-back team championships here in the Retro Series. Been a top 5 driver every year of this series, and just some bad luck here tonight. Of course, a lot of drivers had some bad luck here tonight with that big wreck that started with Bobby Mikes and the net code incident that also took Scott McClendon out. Let's give you a rundown of the drivers who are out of this race right now. And it starts with David Clymer in the 20th position. Remember, folks, we started 35 cars. We're down to 19 that are running. David Clymer, Ricky Hardin, Dean Mardi Gras Mall, Adam Young, Jason Foss. Then we get into the cars that were involved in that wreck and retired right away. Ryan Corns, Bobby Mikes, James Paulson, George Anzaldo, Aaron Smith, Aaron Morgan, Marty Davis, Chris Reagan, and Scott McClendon. And Bruno Miranda and Sam Crow both went out early on our first caution of the night for Bruno. Sam must have collected some damage in there somewhere. We never really saw him, but he went out on the same lap. 3 cautions thus far. We had the Bruno Miranda wreck early. Then the big one with Bobby Mikes and then Jason Boss on the restart a couple laps later when Michael Gray was penalized for an avoidable contact. Michael is 1 lap down along with David Altman. Dustin Wardlow out there 5 laps down. Richie Hearn is running around 9 laps down right now. So we work lap number 83. 50 to go here at Homestead, Miami.
Here we go with some lap traffic. We saw that played in the last time. Looks like Jenkins is going to stay way high. Who is that in front? Altman. He's going to stay high as well. All right, no drama there. But now Sage, Greg kind of saw an opportunity there to sneak a little bit of a draft and pulled himself away from Sage just a little bit, but then on the bottom line, obviously being the shorter way around, makes up that advantage. Now, here we are looking just over the shoulder there from Sandman. He's watching this battle, very curious eyes. I mean, Sandman is known to be a very patient driver, so he's lurking back there, trying to plot the next move. Where does he kind of want to go from here? And don't forget about Saunders back there as well. There you see Sage trying to block the very bottom, trying to stifle that run away from Otis. And you got Greg up there in the top side by side, going through turns 3 and 4. And you see Otis drifting up just a little bit, almost contact off the corner. Here we go down the front stretch. I mean, Sandman is just watching this going, guys, can I just get a lane? If I could get up somewhere, I mean, I could really get a battle going. But you see, it takes a very high line. Ooh, Lotus trying it. Crossover from Sandman going off of 2.
Boy, all that calmness that we had for about 20 laps there.
Well, you know what it is.
Restart.
You know what it is. The 50 laps to go. So what them boys heard is the pay window. The lady shuffled her little, she put her drawer in. They all heard that. And that shutter's getting ready to come flying up. That's an old reference that's, judging by everybody's silence, we're just going to not use that again for the rest of the year. All right, so I'm saying, the pay window, you go after the race, Sean, they pay you the money. It's a short track Saturday night. Nothing. Oh, all right. Anyways, moving on. Good battle there still up front between West and Sage Karam. Otis up there now in the top lane, switching it up, using that momentum that he was able to get running, get himself going. 3 wide going into the corner here. Otis deciding to back out of it, but that's letting Sandman get a run. And look at that car just back there. That's Trevor Malone in that number 34 machine.
Boy, there are 14 cars
Still
currently
3
on
wide.
the lead lap, and 9 of them are battling it out right here for the lead and the win, and we still have 40-plus laps left in this race. 44 to be exact. I got to tell you, I almost kind of like being Mike Rigney and Tommy Ryan right now, who are rolling around 6 seconds behind this pack. Might find themselves inheriting a podium before we're done.
Well, you got to look back too, like Tyler Groff back there as well. Scott Holmes, Travis Jagerliner. I mean, we've seen it happen. Something could take out all 7
Travis
of these guys.
Jagerliner is the king of like 132 laps running around, almost a lap down in a 133 lap race, and then all of a sudden he's in 5th, and you're like, oh, Travis is here. But there's a little bit of damage there on the front of Tommy Ryan's car from early on. I'm surprised we talked about that first caution. He was kind of involved in that there. Surprised that he's been able to hang as much as he has, but he's back there with Mike Rigney.
Sage Karam, pit road.
Well, Sage is on pit road.
And Greg West.
Here we go. So let's keep an eye on it, and we'll see if it's going to be fuel only. Boy, Sage, easy, buddy.
Oh, who's that spinning up behind him? I didn't see the. Is that?
That's the 58 Tyson Landis.
58
Tyson
I mean,
Landis.
that's a Danny Sullivan move right there.
Tyler Graff is on pit road as well, as there's a green car back there. Take another look at Tyson Landis here. Sage Karam is going no tires. No tires for Sage Karam. Tyson Landis, no tires. Georgian Zaldo. No, not Georgian Zaldo. Mike Rigney, no tires.
Otis at pit road as well. He is bringing Malone and Lionel Little Train with him. Let's take a look. Little Train hits the box.
Sage Karam is still on pit road. He got a speeding penalty, Yaz. I thought he came in too fast. Everybody else is gone. Sage Karam is sitting on pit road still. Your race leader. Look at that. 36, 37.
Oh, no.
A minute on pit road. Sage Karam is going to lose a lap on this pit cycle.
There's got to be something else going on there, because
They don't replace wings. They don't replace wings in this car.
And he's rolling now. 51 seconds on pit road.
Wow. Sage, I thought it was sketchy when he came in. He's off with Travis Jagerliner in tow.
Well, and remember, green flag speeding penalties, only 20 seconds.
On top of your long stop, though.
But, okay. But did he take tires, though?
He did not.
Only is only 10, 12 seconds.
Well, I think we increased the fuel capacity, and he's back on pit road, Yaz. Sage is back on pit road. What is happening?
Just apparently the spot to be.
He lost it, and he's almost into the wall.
Yeah, something's going on mechanically, I believe, with that number 2
Wow. Machine. Heartbreak. Ryan Otis, Finian DeCon out front. Sage is back on pit road and not working on the car. Sage is off. They say he's not getting fuel. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Sage Karam.
That would explain the long stop if he's trying to sit there in the box to make it.
Unbelievable. Heartbreaking for Sage Karam. Just D'Acunha to the inside of Ryan Otis. This should cycle around for second place behind George Sandman. Tyler Graff is not hit pit road yet.
Exact. I think Tyler might be going for a long. I think he's going to try to go for an over here, because we've talked about it at length with this car last year and probably already this year. Light fuel, fast car, fast lap times. I mean, that last time by, he's lapping faster than the guys that he's trying to outrun, but I just don't think it's enough.
Tyler was also late to pit road, yeah.
I think he pitted on one of the other cautions as well.
I think he topped off on the most recent caution when Jason Boss went around.
How far of a lead, or how far could we go on fuel?
They say 47 laps. He's on 42.
Yeah. I mean, you can get real creative. I don't think you're making 35 laps of fuel.
No, I don't think so, but I think he might be making up some time here, or maybe his thought process is if a caution comes out, but in this car, the caution, not like the IndyCar where everybody's going to dive to pit road for tires after 5 or 6 laps.
No, but then
I don't hate the strategy here.
No, I
the
don't
other
either.
thing is he's got a bunch of cars trapped a lap down right now, and so if the caution were to come out, he would eliminate half the field that was on the lead lap is now trapped a lap down.
Yeah, Lionel Little Train Callisto right now is the last car on the lead lap. You got Trevor Malone right there who's trying to fight to get back on there, but he has more fuel than Tyler, so Tyler can just drive away.
And Tyson Landis, who spun coming to pit road. Boy, if a caution came out, Tyson Landis would be banging his head, I think.
I wonder.
Mike Rigney, Tommy Ryan, Scott Holmes, Travis Jagerland are all one lap down to Tyler right now.
Well, and I think we got to remember if this is the net gain for Tyler, because he was running about 9th, 10th, 8th, 9th, 10th right before them. So I'll be curious to see if he gains or if it's just kind of a net, kind of net simple. But, I mean, right now you got Sandman leading, in second place. I mean, he eventually will jump out front when Tyler does pit. You got Sandman and Otis and Finian up there.
Your entire pit delta, cone to cone, is a little over 30 seconds. You figure with the access roads, you're looking at more like 50. So 50 seconds right now would probably drop Tyler Groff back to about 9th or 10th.
So it might be just right out where he was. But I don't know. You never know how these things end up. Good battle right here with Otis.
George Sandman quietly had a killer stop, and he's about a second and a half out in front of these guys.
He did the undercut perfectly. He got to pit road when it was clean, and I think he maximized the entry and the exit. And I think he had clear track maybe on either side with probably a draft, and that's kind of how he leapfrogged everybody from the Delta standpoint. And he's on to pit road.
Here's Tyler Graff, your leader to pit road. It'd be interesting to keep an eye now on where George Sandman is. And
Sandman's going by about now. Nope. Sandman's coming off a 4 now. But Tyler's rolling.
This is going to work out for Tyler Graff, I think.
That's a full second off of the pit delta. He's going to stay on the lead lap, and I think he's going to be right. I think he's going to end up right where he was.
We'll see.
I think you called it.
George Sandman is the leader. See where Tyler Graff rolls off a pit road. That was Tommy Ryan and Rigney and Landis that just went by. And there it is. So Tyler Graff comes out in the 11th spot.
But if you do get a late race caution, I would look to that number 24 machine being that light on fuel.
Well, I don't know.
Could be real interesting.
We lost Alex Saunders in that mix as well. Alex Saunders lost a lap on pit road, so.
Yeah, 47.9 pit stop. I wonder if he had the same glitch that saved him.
Or that 47.9 seems a little more in tow with a possible penalty.
closer. No, it's not. 'Cause if you're going fuel only for 9 seconds, pit stop, again 20.
Oh, you're right. He might have had the same glitch. He might have figured it out quicker.
I think
Saunders
so.
only 1 lap down. Sage is 2. Boy, this race has just been turned on its head
I
by
told you. Didn't
all
want to be
sorts
the
of
leader.
things. So it's Otis, it's Sandman leading, and then you're looking at second. This is out the back of Sandman to Otis and Greg West, and then Little Train and Finian. Boy, what? Little Train and Finian? Huh?
Came out of nowhere.
34th and 29th to 4th and 5th. Wowzers.
I know Soup's out there watching, and I know, you'd say, oh, they're the hard charger. According to old Soup, they didn't take a time, so therefore it doesn't count for some standings.
Neither of them took a time?
Neither of them took a time.
Finian in 29th didn't take a time? Man, talk about a cop-out.
Okay, Finian did.
Finian took a time.
Lionel didn't.
Finian's
Okay. So
Finian
okay,
counts.
so Lionel doesn't count for Soup's
Finian took a legitimate time too. Like, it's in the 7, so he tried. He just wasn't very good. which by the way doesn't really matter right now because he's in the top 5.
It doesn't.
On board with the Candyman as he is in the Hornet's nest getting lapped here. David Altman also just got passed. But Trevor Malone is in no man's land behind these guys. Like, somebody please throw your water bottle out of the car or something.
Screaming for it every lap.
He's like, I can just barely see the cars in front of me, and there's nobody behind me either. Like, he's got a whole turn on the cars behind them. See if Sean can get the back view here from Trevor to see what he sees out of his mirrors right now, because it's not quite as bad, but it's pretty bad. Like, poor Trevor. It's gonna be such a helpless feeling. It is a good battle behind Trevor Malone, as Sean just pointed out in our ears. It's Tyson Landis and Mike Rigney and Tommy Ryan, and that's 7th, 8th, and 9th. Boy, if you would have told Tommy Ryan that, hey, on lap 10, you're going to destroy the front of your car, and oh, by the way, you got a shot at the top 5, he would have been like, huh?
I'll take it.
All right, yeah, that's a good night. We'll take it. Here he is. He's hanging on to 9th with a chance, realistically, at 7th or maybe 6th that they can catch Malone, and if you get a caution, who the heck knows what happens as we have 22 laps left here in the DMLC Racing Channel Grand Prix of Miami.
Battles all over the place. It's fun to see. Yeah, we got 22 laps to go. Sun's just getting to that point. In session time is just about 5:30 Miami time right now in the session, which puts us at a lovely 76 degrees outside. Nice little wind blowing. You got Sandman out front.
Well, they caught him, though.
He's got that thing in the wind, but now everybody's caught back up to him. As you got Otis with more than a 9-mile-an-hour breeze getting back up to that rear spoiler, and he's going to bring Little Train and go. West had a decision to make right there, and if he made the wrong run, they were going to all wreck.
Sandman pitted 1 lap later, and I almost wonder if he took too much fuel as a result.
Might just be pacing. I mean, we know Sandman from last year. He still knows with 20 laps to go, a lot of things can happen here at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway here on iRacing Esports Network. Just maybe the white line. I mean, I think if you look back at the IndyCar race from last week, Connor Harrington, he hugged that white line and there was no way around him. I can't imagine that we're going to see that 06 get too far away from that white line. Oh, wrecking behind him! Little Train! Into the fence! It's going to stay low. I don't think there's going to bring out a caution. Greg West was in it as well.
Greg West's car is destroyed. Let's see how Little Train gets through this. We're going to watch this battle for the lead and go back to this when we get a chance. Oh, boy, and I hate to break it. That was all on Greg West, 100%. tell you, Little Train got through that with no damage. He did a 360. He's got a little bit of side pod damage, and again, we'll go back to this when we get a chance. A little bit of side pod damage, but Little Train would be okay if we got a caution to bunch things up. Greg West might as well save that thing for the next Demolition Derby.
Wow. That
there's
an amazing bit of driving from Lionel. There you go.
Three-car battle for the lead now. And they're 3 wide. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's worked so well the other times.
16 laps to go, and we're 3 wide for the lead.
Every time I eat 3 Big Macs, I can't breathe. Well, why do you eat 3 Big Macs? Well, it tastes good.
I think Finian's thinking right now. Let's take a look at that caution or non-caution.
You got to watch this bit of driving from Little Train. It's impeccable.
This truly is the Danny Sullivan if he comes back.
Going straight, not going straight. Gonna hook it here, grab a gear, floor it. That cone, 2 cones down, grab a gear, go. Hit nothing.
Look at this. Watch the wheel. Look at the driving.
Just left it. Oh, look at that. He left it straight, didn't try to react. I mean, I give that a 10.
Yeah.
The Russian judge is showing 7-7.
7-7, yeah. I was thinking 7-7 from the Russian judge for sure. Here's another look. Boy, and I got to tell you, if you catch an onboard with Greg West, you'll see that Greg just unfortunately just up the track he went, and
we like seeing those HyperX logos on the broadcast, but we don't like seeing it when it goes into the fence.
We're still 3 wide for the lead. Meanwhile, boy, Otis could have cleared Sandman and didn't take it there. And I wonder if we get close enough to the end, if he slams the door.
Yeah, you got this.
Otis got to have those. Otis got to have those Scott Rupp spotlights plugged in.
Midwest Simulation, that is. Spotlights. We don't got a set of those. Just do it.
Mine work even calling a race, and let me tell you, that is ever so convenient.
I could imagine. I've never thought of that.
The more you know, yes. 12 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Finian back there just hanging out, watching. But I mean, just as this race keeps getting closer to the conclusion, I really think Sandman is he's in the captain's seat right there. I don't see you getting him off of that line, and I don't see the outside line working. If Sandman can hang on to it for another 11 laps, this would be his first career victory, I believe, in the Retro Series. Which is an astounding thought process.
I'm just going to pull those stats up for you right here. Sandman has 1 win, 6 top 5s and 7 top 10s. He won at Pocono last year.
Oh, that was one that I had to miss. That would explain that.
I could be wrong. I think we might have both missed Pocono last year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back to the All-Star race a year ago. I know Sandman won the LCQ and then the Open on top of that and qualified in. I don't remember if he won the All-Star race as well. I don't think he did, but I think he was on the boat.
We went to Homestead and we ran the road course. And I think that was a photo finish between Otis and I don't remember the other driver.
He also made quite an impression in the IndyCar All-Star race, if I recall, at the Roval that year as well.
Yeah, all sorts of fun things going on. Now, Jason, if you're we're 8 laps to go here. 9 laps. There we go. 8 laps to go. If you're Finian, what's going through your mind? Where do you try to make your move? Like, where do you see yourself trying to make that move?
As soon as humanly possible.
Okay, so you're going to go on the attack immediately.
If I see a window and I'm Finian, I'm going. Because right now, like, here's the one thing I know to be true for sure. Pop into the outside 3 wide, you are not going to win this race.
Oh, it looks cool.
Finian needs to find a way. Finian needs to find a way to make a move and separate the Otis Sandman Texas two-step going on here.
Now, if you think, could you get to the top side? Could you potentially, pinch down and then, kind of try to stifle that run from the guy behind or the guy below you? And then if you're 3 wide, you're going to kind of get a 2-for-1 there.
Maybe, but I think that just sets Sandman up. Boy, Sandman almost opened the door. I think that just leaves the door open for Sandman to run away with it at that point. I think if I'm Finian, I would be doing my best to get as tucked up here as I could, like this. I would shoot the gap here, and he didn't do it. And if it were me, that's what I would be doing.
Unless he's thinking he's got more time, but with 6 laps to go and no green-white checkers here in the Retro Series, you don't have that many more attempts at this. Look at that. Look at the heat coming off of that camera angle right there. Ooh, 5 laps to go at Homestead, Miami here. I don't mind the strategy of hanging back and hoping for a window because I'm a bit of a points racer. So I'm going to look and go, if I go for a win, I'm going to wreck and finish 20th. But if I hang out here, that's a good points day. And if an opportunity presents itself, then you go for it.
Finian's best career finish was 2nd place at Iowa last year. He's led 1 lap in his entire Lionheart career, and here he is in 3rd place at the season opener. Ryan Otis, your defending season champions, in 5th place, or with 5 wins, I should say. And George Sandman with that lone win at Pocono.
I keep seeing, we got Lionheart setup guru Andrew Kinsella in the chat, and he keeps saying 4/10 back in draft. So, if the guy that built the setup says that, I'm gonna probably try listening that way.
I don't know if Finian's got somebody watching the group chat right now trying to figure that out. By the way, Trevor Malone has worked his way up to the 4th spot. I just want to point that out. We're not leaving this battle for the win with 2 laps to go, but Trevor Malone, Mike Rigney, Tommy Ryan, and Tyson Landis are in a 4-car battle that is just as intense for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we are going to go check on that real quick, and here they are. As I mentioned, they're 4 cars deep with a lap and a half to go for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Malone, Rigney, Ryan, and Landis. But here we go. Off of turn 4. One final time. 1.5 miles left. I don't think they're going to catch the lap cars as Finian dances around.
They might catch that run going at about the worst time. Here comes Finney with a run off of 2, trying to dodge this way, that way, 3 wide up top. Otis is the middle of that sandwich. How are they going to come off of turn 4?
Sandman down low. He walks up the track. Here's Otis. Here comes Finian. We'll cross the stripe 3 wide, and George Sandman hangs on for the 2nd time in his career. George Sandman wins a Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel race. Ryan Otis, the champion, 2nd. Finian comes home 3rd. Behind them, another mad dash to the stripe, and it was by the slimmest of margins. Trevor Malone holding off Mike Rigney for 4th place. Rigney 5th. Tommy Ryan 6th. Tyson Landis comes home in 7th. What an opening night for the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. George Sandman's going to light them up and celebrate. We're going to come back and talk to the winner here on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to opening night of the Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel, part of the Lionheart Racing Series powered by our good friends at HyperX. And this is the HyperX post-race show streaming your way on GSRC and IESN Lionheart Racing Series powered by HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset. It gives you the audio information you need to grab a checkered flag like George Sandman. From high-performance memory and SSDs, outstanding microphones, accurate mics, responsive keyboards, legendary cloud line of gaming headsets, HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed. Casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. If you don't have a pair of HyperX headphones for this next segment, fear not, because we're going to put the Turn Racing finishing order up on the screen for you to see. Turn Racing, merging the gap between real and sim racing. You can use the promo code Lionheart10 at turnracing.com. And there it is, George Sandman by 21 thousandths of a second takes the win over the defending series champion Ryan Otis. Finian DeCunha coming home in the third spot. Trevor Malone clawed his way back up to fourth. Mike, don't call him Eleanor Rigney, comes home fifth with Tommy Ryan, Tyson Landis, Little Train, Lionel Callisto, Tyler Graff, and Scott Holmes.
In the 11th position, you got Travis Jagerliner with Alex Saunders in the 12th spot. Michael Gray, the Racing Kangaroo, making his return to the Lionheart Series in the 13th spot with Paul Jenkins, 14th. Sage Karam, after that unorthodox pit stop with the glitch in the fuel, recovering to 15th. Altman, 16th. The Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, persevering to 17th. Greg West, involved in that late accident, finishing in the 18th spot with Richie Hearn. Look at that, Richie Hearn, hanging out there, stealing the top 20. Adam Young, right there in the 20th spot.
21st. Oh, David Clymer. Man.
What could have been?
David Clymer, if you're still watching this and you have not already gone to your refrigerator, I want you to stand up, turn the volume up really loud so you can keep listening to us.
Yep.
Walk to the fridge, open the door, find the first libation you can, and then grab that and the other 5 behind it. Because that's the night it could have been for David Clymer. Ricky Harden comes home in 22nd, Marty Gramal 23rd, Jason Foss, Ryan Corns, Bobby Mikes, James Paulson. Boy, speaking of people who need to go have a drink or two, Bobby Mikes running around in 3rd, and then the net code from the moon came to catch him. James Paulson, George Anzaldo, Aaron Smith, and Aaron Morgan, your top 30, yes.
31st spot to Marty Davis, 32nd to Chris Reagan, Scotty McClendon there, 33rd, 34th to Bruno Miranda, and Sam Crow, unfortunately, rounding out 35th in the standing. So from there, who are we going to talk to first? Who we got lined up?
I think from there we're gonna go to the Sim Experience Victory Lane and talk to some of our drivers here. The Sim Experience AccuForce steering system is the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. The entire line of Sim Experience products available at simexperience.com. And we bring in, for the second time in his career here in the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by DMLC Racing Channel, your winner here at Homestead Miami Speedway tonight, George Sandman, in that beautiful HPP car. What a run, George. What a wild night it was, and a great run for you. Congratulations. Walk us through the final couple of laps there with Ryan Otis and Finian darting to your outside and what that was like.
Well, it seemed like Ryan could get a run on me if I wasn't prepared for it. So I knew as long as I was prepared for the last couple laps and could hold that inside line, they weren't going to be able to get by me.
You came out of the pits with a surprising lead, and I guess that was the difference between you staying out for another lap from everybody there. But when you got out in front, you had that second and a half lead. Were you worried about that pack catching back up to
Yeah, I think it was 2 laps maybe. No, or maybe it was only one more than Ryan. But yeah, I just ran. I could have ran one more, but I figured didn't want to get caught out with the yellow. I'm starting to learn some of the oval stuff. This is kind of different for me. This is my second oval win, and I've never really particularly liked ovals very much, and I'm starting to enjoy them very much.
It turns out that winning will make you enjoy things. That's what I'm told.
Yes, that does help. Excuse my voice a little bit. I'm a little on the sick side. I'm hoping that I don't have the virus. I do have a cough. I do have some little congestion, but I think it's just a cold, an upper sinus thing. So and I am in the 60 range, so I'm in the target range. So pray for me, guys. I'll be here next week because I gotta defend my race.
I was just gonna say, you gotta, if you do have it, you gotta make sure you nip it in the bud, because we're gonna need you here for round number 2, because you are indeed the points leader, sir, and that's got to have a nice ring to it. Congratulations, great run tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to thank HyperX for coming on board and sponsoring us. That was great. I hope we put on a real good show for them. And I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting this, and like to thank Lionheart for putting.
All right, George, go get some rest and feel better, my friend. But hopefully you find a little bit of energy and you're there to celebrate the win here, the first race of the season. That's George Sandman. This is Brian Yazik, and he's with the defending champ,
Ryan Otis. I said it in the broadcast, number 1 on your programs, number 1 on your heart, and number 1 on the side of that retro machine. Tell us about your night, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it really went pretty well. I can't complain. I mean, there was some crazy stuff going on out there. I felt bad when the leader at the time had gotten into it with a lap car. That was pretty disappointing. I know it ended his night, so that was kind of a bummer. But yeah, it's car felt good. Got a lot of practice. Felt good in traffic. So I was pretty happy with kind of how it turned out. I had my whole plan for the finish there. If I went really high in 1 and 2, I could get a really big run on George. But with Finian there, I didn't really risk it on the last lap because he was sticking his nose in there, and so I just had to play it tight and hope for the best. But that was great driving, really, by both those guys. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, it looked like you guys were having fun out there. I mean, it seemed like it was kind of typical Homestead in this machine, where having that bottom lane was, especially at the end, was preferable. Was that what Plan A, and then Plan B kind of turned into get the big run?
Yeah. Since he definitely wasn't going to give up the bottom. I was trying to figure out how to make it work up top, and a few of the times when I got a good run, I beat him back to the line. So I was going to try that approach. Overall, yeah, pretty normal for the way this car works here. For me, I like to be up high for the first couple of gallons of fuel, and then once the car lightens up, you get down to around 6 gallons. And then all of a sudden it just starts working at the bottom. So you can kind of run either lane at that point and make it work.
Sounds good. I mean, from here we go to Watkins Glen and the road courses, which I know is a personal favorite of yours. You thinking you're going to keep on this podium streak, going for the win? I mean, now with a lot of the increased competition on roads, I mean, your crowd there might be a little challenged. How you gonna respond?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be a challenge. There's a ton of crazy fast people driving now, and well, there was last year too. I got lucky with a few wins, but no, I think this is going to be the best season yet for the league. Got to thank HyperX coming on. I've been working from home all week with all this stuff going on, and I was using this HyperX headset. And it's the best I've ever sounded on a conference call. So I know it's for gaming and stuff, but that it works pretty well. So I can't complain. I've pretty happy with that. And no, I'm looking forward to the road courses for sure. I've had some pretty good battles with Saunders and Sage in the past, and I know there's a few new guys coming into the league who are going to be super fast. So I think that'll be fun.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to seeing that next broadcast there at Watkins Glen. Ryan, we'll see you when we get there, buddy.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That was Ryan Otis, the second step of the podium. Jason, you caught up with Finian, and I think this will be kind of a fun interview to hear the perspective on.
Yeah. Finian, I hope you get a chance to go back and watch this, because with about 30 laps to go, Brian and I were rolling through the field, and we went, and in fourth and fifth is Finian and Lionel. Huh? That was pretty much our thought on how your guys' night went. Third place after starting in 29th. Boy, that had to feel like seeing the finish line at a marathon, to come home there with a chance to win that thing at the end.
Yeah, needless to say, I definitely need to start practicing qualifying, because I definitely did not want to start in 29th. I just went around there. I was like, all right, I guess I'm starting in the back. And most of the race I just spent up, just trying to pass the field one by one. And then I somehow made it through that massive wreck on the front straightaway. I don't know how I made it through, but I magically did, and pretty much that's how I was able to get to the front.
The last couple laps there, Brian and I were talking about what your strategy might have been, and there was a couple times I thought you could have maybe split the gap between Otis and Sandman and tried to shove it in the middle. Instead, you went with the move to the outside on the final lap. Just kind of talk to us a little bit about what your thoughts were on maybe what might have been the best strategy over those last few laps in your spot.
Honestly, I have no clue. That's exactly what I said to my teammates. I had no clue what I had planned to try to take the lead, but I just kind of went at it. I spent that entire run just kind of problem solving how I was going to take away. I was trying to really upset Salmon on that inside line, because that inside lane is just too good for the lead. I was trying to figure out if I can force him into an error or something, so that way I can then maybe try to work on the outside and then get past Otis. But unfortunately, nothing really worked. But I'll definitely take home a solid third place. Was not expecting to finish in the podium, but glad it did. And also, if I can I thank a few guys?
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Ironwood Golf Simulators, Midwest Simulations, iRacing Knife Leg, and also Tyler Greff for painting my car tonight. And also, last but certainly not least, to Ryan Corns for bringing me on board with his team. Looking forward to the rest of this.
I was just going to compliment you on that car. Yaz and I are teammates with Tyler on the IndyCar side, and so we had a chance to kind of see the workings of this as it went. But the Mark Blundell tribute there is just so pretty to see on the track. So great choice.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Finian. That is your top three on the podium, and speaking of painter extraordinaire Tyler Graff.
Tyler, welcome on board. Not the strategy that you were trying to roll didn't quite work out tonight. Kind of trying to leapfrog everybody. Was that the plan all along, or just kind of fell that way?
That was the plan. On that last restart, I just got caught up in too much traffic and lost the draft, and I was just kind of out to dry then. So then I stayed out as long as I could, hoping for a caution. I got 3 spots out of it though, so
it's not bad though. But bring it in, because I know you wanted to give. We got some. Wow, let me try that whole sentence again. You got some things that you kind of wanted to talk about, and the floor is yours for a little bit here, Tyler.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mark for sponsorship for the season. It means a lot to me and George and all the admin team that worked so hard to put all this stuff together. And it's also awesome to have HyperX on board and everything they're doing for us with the headsets. And it really brings Lionheart to the next level, and it makes us even a better place to be. So just excited for the season, and want to thank those guys.
Well, there you go. I mean, I know that you're not running all of them. I think you're running this one of the Triple Crowns, or was it all the Triple Crowns this year?
My goal was this. Well, this one was spur of the moment, so hopefully spur of the moment doesn't turn in running the full season. I just don't have the time for that, but I'm hoping to run. It will probably. I'm hoping to run Pocono, Indy, and Spa. Maybe Auto Club. We'll see.
Well, hey, when you get there, we will be there to call that out, and we'll see you when we get there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
And that is going to do it here. We'd like to thank the Lionheart Retro Series and our great sponsor tonight, the DMLC Racing Channel. Head to DMLC Racing Channel on the YouTube, or you can find him on Facebook. Mark Cohn, he provides some really, really entertaining videos on social media. And man, like, if you've ever wanted to just sit back and be like, I wonder what it's like to live and breathe iRacing, this is the channel for you. You will be entertained, I promise you. Also, shoot Mark a private message if you're ever in the Bay Area and ask him for sushi recommendations. He has plenty of them. Yes.
Just food recommendations.
In general. Yeah, in general. Yes.
Or if you need a rear suspension cap for a 1984 Ford F-150.
That's good to know. I didn't know that one.
Mark's the hookup for all that.
Okay, that's good.
He knows a guy.
Mark knows a guy for everybody. If you're ever in the watch market, Mark's another good person to reach out to. Our friends at HyperX, whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows. We're all gamers. Use the promo code. Again, this is so cool. Thank you. If HyperX, if anybody from HyperX is watching, the support already, the headsets, it's incredible. On top of that, a promo code at hyperxgaming.com. It's LionHRT15. So LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com. I'm here to tell you that I'm not even kidding. I'm actually literally going to go buy a bunch of stuff this week because I'm putting a new rig together here at home. Sim Experience, speaking of new rig, I got a wheel that I need to hook up from Sim Experience. Second only to the real thing at simexperience.com. Our good friends at Butt Kicker. Speaking of places I'm shopping this week, bring more realism and immersion to your sessions. Use the promo code LION2020 at thebuttkicker.com. If you want to contact any of our sponsors, you can see them on the screen here. Boy, do we have a bunch of them. We want to thank all of those companies that have been involved here. Several of them have been with us for a long, long time. You go to LionheartRacingSeries.com for more information on our sponsors and so much more the Lionheart Racing Series does. Original music that you hear on every GSRC broadcast comes courtesy of June Lalonde. See the screen here for info on how to reach out to June if you're interested in some of June's music as well. Also, some of the other companies that help make our broadcast possible. The Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel returns for round number 2. It's coming your way. April 2nd, Watkins Glen. GSRC and IESN will be there to bring you all of the action, and we hope you will join us for a race that I was not going to be at like tonight, but I think I am now because, well, we all have a lot of time to spend with each other these days. What better way to do it than while watching some great sim racing? Hope you'll join us. If you'd like more information on GSRC, head to globalsimracingchannel.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, the Instagram. If you're not a GSRC YouTube subscriber, what the heck are you doing? Hit the subscribe button on the GSRC page. Make sure you hit subscribe on the iRacing Esports Network page if you're watching right now and you've not done that either. On behalf of our crew tonight, Brian Yazik, Sean Ambrose, Dougie Beard, I want to thank everybody watching you here tonight. Congratulations. The Sandman, George Sandman, gets the win. The DMLC Racing Channel at Grand Prix of Miami. Until next time, remember, the only person who remembers that you come home in second is your wife and your dog. Good night.